September 17th, 1925. Mexico City streets echo with screeching metal as a trolley car smashes into a wooden bus. She is Frida Kahlo, a spirited pre-med student whose dreams of becoming a doctor die in this moment of impact. But from this catastrophic accident will emerge one of history's most powerful artists, transforming physical agony into transcendent art. For the next 29 years, she will wage war against fate itself, using paintbrush and palette as weapons against suffering. She will paint her pain, love passionately, fight politically, and create work that makes her immortal through sheer force of will. This is the story of a woman who refused to surrender to destiny, who turned trauma into triumph and legend. Born Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo on July 6, 1907, in Coyoacan, Mexico, she entered a world already marked by revolution. Her father, Wilhelm, was a German photographer who immigrated to Mexico, while her mother was mestiza with Spanish and indigenous roots. As a child, Frida contracted polio at age 6, leaving her right leg thinner and weaker than her left, marking suffering's beginning. She compensated by becoming fiercely athletic, playing soccer, swimming, and boxing, refusing to let physical limitations define her possibilities or ambitions. The Mexican Revolution raged around her childhood, shaping her political consciousness and lifelong commitment to social justice and indigenous culture. She was a brilliant student with plans to study medicine, one of only 35 girls admitted to the prestigious National Preparatory. Her intelligence and rebellious spirit made her a leader among students, joining Los Cachuches that challenged authority and traditional values. At 18, she was preparing for medical school when fate intervened with the devastating accident that would redefine her existence. A severe bus accident at age 18 left Kahlo in lifelong pain after a trolley car collided with the bus. The accident was catastrophic. Her spine broken in 3 places, pelvis shattered, ribs crushed, and a handrail pierced her abdomen. Confined to bed for 3 months following the accident, Kahlo began to paint, starting to consider a career as medical illustrator. Her mother installed a mirror above her bed, allowing Frida to see herself while painting, beginning the self-portraits that would define. Art became her lifeline to sanity and self-expression as she explored her own image with unflinching honesty and psychological penetration. Frida painted her first self-portrait in September 1926, followed by many other images reflecting her current emotional and physical circumstances. These early works revealed a young woman grappling with mortality, identity, and the gap between her dreams and physical reality. Kahlo's interests in politics and art led her to join the Mexican Communist Party in 1927, through which she met Diego Rivera. Rivera was already Mexico's most famous muralist, 20 years older than Frida, and a larger-than-life figure whose reputation attracted her. Both were passionate about rebirth of their country's identity after the Mexican Revolution. The artists first met in 1928 through communism. Their courtship was intense and politically charged, bonding over shared Marxist ideals and commitment to revolutionary art, celebrating indigenous culture. The couple married in 1929 and spent the late 1920s and early 1930s traveling together in Mexico and United States. Their marriage was immediately controversial. Friends called them the elephant and the dove, due to Diego's massive frame and Frida's stature. But the real drama lay in their passionate, tumultuous relationship, marked by mutual infidelity, artistic collaboration, and shared political commitment. Diego's affairs were legendary and public, causing Frida enormous emotional pain that she channeled into increasingly powerful and disturbing works. In the painting Memory, 1937, Kahlo communicates emotional pain by portraying her body with a gaping wound in the chest. She retaliated with her own affairs, including relationships with both men and women. Most notably, a romance with exiled revolutionary Trotsky. Kahlo and Trotsky first met in 1937, when the painter was 29 and the politician was 57, both vocal Marxism supporters. The affair with Trotsky represented both political and personal rebellion, combining her attraction to revolutionary politics with need for revenge. Throughout the 1930s, her art grew darker and more psychologically complex, as chronic pain from her accident worsened with years. The Mexican painter, Frida Kahlo, underwent some 35 surgical operations between the ages of 18 and 47 when she died. Each surgery promised relief, but delivered only temporary respite. Followed by months of recovery and the crushing return of pain, she began painting The Broken Column in 1944, her most famous representation of physical and emotional suffering, combined into devastating imagery. The painting showed her body as a landscape of suffering, yet her face remained defiant, tears falling, but eyes meeting viewer. A gap resembling an earthquake fissure splits her in two, the opened body suggesting surgery, and Frida's feeling of vulnerability. Her art became increasingly surreal and disturbing as she painted miscarriages, failed pregnancies, and the constant presence of death. The inability to have children haunted her, as multiple pregnancies ended in miscarriage due to the damage from her accident. She painted herself as bleeding, broken, divided, yet always with fierce eyes that challenged viewers to look away from suffering. Her self-portraits numbered over 50, making her face one of the most recognizable in art history. Each painting revealing pain layers. "I paint self-portraits because I am the person I know best," she said, turning her isolation into profound self-knowledge. Her paintings rejected traditional Mexican gender roles, showing a woman who refused to be defined by suffering, marriage, or expectations. She embraced indigenous Mexican culture through her clothing, wearing traditional Tehuana dresses that connected her to pre-Columbian roots and feminism. Her fashion choices were political statements, rejecting European styles in favor of indigenous Mexican dress that celebrated her mixed heritage. The bright colors, elaborate jewelry, and dramatic makeup became part of her artistic persona, turning herself into a living artwork. She painted Mexican culture with pride and defiance, showing indigenous people pre-Columbian symbols and revolutionary politics in vibrant detail. Her work celebrated Mexico's complex identity while rejecting both European colonialism and American capitalism through powerful visual statements and symbolism. By the 1940s, chronic pain made walking impossible, confining her to bed for months at a time while she continued painting. She created some of her most powerful works during this period, including What the Water Gave Me, a surreal meditation. Her bedroom became her studio, as she painted lying down, the mirror above her bed reflecting a face increasingly marked. Diego's continued infidelities, including an affair with her sister, Christina, pushed her to emotional breaking points that manifested in disturbing imagery. She divorced Diego in 1940, remarried him in 1940, their relationship too passionate and complicated to end despite mutual destruction. Her political activism continued, even as her health declined, participating in Communist Party activities and supporting leftist causes throughout Mexico. She hosted Trotsky and other exiled revolutionaries at Casa Azul, her family home that became a center for radical activity. Her art gained international recognition in the 1940s, with exhibitions in New York and Paris. introducing her work to audiences. But fame brought little comfort, as chronic pain dominated her daily existence. Requiring increasingly powerful medications affecting her state, she kept detailed diaries documenting her physical and emotional pain, providing insights into the creative process that transformed suffering. Her writing revealed the same unflinching honesty as her paintings, recording suicidal thoughts alongside moments of creative triumph and passion. The final years brought amputations, infections, and the constant presence of death that she had painted symbolically becoming literal reality. She painted Viva la Vida, Live Life, just days before her death. Watermelons split open to reveal red flesh-like wounds. On July 13, 1954, she died at Casa Azul at age 47, officially from pulmonary embolism, though some suspected suicide. Her final diary entry read, "I hope the exit is joyful, and I hope never to return," suggesting she welcomed death. Diego was devastated, calling her death the most tragic day of my life. Recognizing too late the true depth of connection, she was cremated wearing one of her traditional Tijuana dresses. Her ashes kept at Casa Azul, which became the museum. Her art, initially dismissed as naive or merely biographical, gained recognition as sophisticated psychological exploration of universal themes like suffering. Feminist movements of the 1970s rediscovered her work, recognizing her as a pioneer who painted female experience without sentimentality. Her unflinching self-portraits influenced generations of artists to explore their own psychological landscapes with similar honesty and courage throughout careers. She proved that art could transform personal suffering into universal statements about human resilience, creativity, and the refusal to surrender. Her political commitment showed that personal pain didn't preclude engagement with social justice, that individual and collective liberation were inseparable. She redefined what it meant to be a Mexican artist, celebrating indigenous culture while engaging with international modernist movements. Her fashion and self-presentation influenced how women thought about identity, showing that appearance could be a form of political expression. Casa Azul became a pilgrimage site for artists, feminists, and anyone seeking to understand how creativity can emerge from suffering. Her face became an icon of defiance, reproduced on everything from t-shirts to murals, sometimes trivializing, but also spreading message. She demonstrated that disability didn't mean artistic limitation, that physical constraints could actually intensify rather than diminish creative expression and innovation. Her love letters to Diego revealed a woman capable of profound passion despite her suffering, showing that pain couldn't destroy connection. She painted Mexico's complex identity with unprecedented honesty, showing how personal and national trauma could be transformed into powerful statements. Her work anticipated contemporary discussions about identity, intersectionality, and the politics of representation decades before these concepts became mainstream discourse. She refused to be pitied or sentimentalized, demanding that viewers confront, rather than look away from suffering, transformation, and resilience. Frida Kahlo transformed accident into art, pain into power, showing that fate could be fought with brush and palette. Passion. She proved that true artists don't just reflect their times, but reshape them, turning personal struggle into universal inspiration. The girl who should have died in that bus accident became immortal. Her suffering transformed into beauty that continues inspiring. She painted her reality without compromise, creating a body of work that makes her pain meaningful and her fight eternal.